Let's do some speaking practice. Hi, I'm Melinda, and this video is part of a series of videos giving you practice with the second part of the IELTS speaking test. In the test, the examiner will give you a card with some questions. They'll give you 1 minute to take notes, and then they'll ask you to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. I'm going to show you a card in a moment and ask you to speak, and then later we'll look at what you could have done. So have a pen and paper ready to take notes. Set up your smartphone to record. When I show you the card, spend 1 minute taking notes. I'll tell you when to start talking. At that point, start recording yourself on your smartphone. So pause the video now while you organise your pen, paper and phone. Ready? Now we'll begin the second part of the speaking test. I'm going to show you a card. Please read the card and spend 1 minute taking notes. Okay, so now I'd like you to talk about a famous person. You should talk for 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, that's the end of part 2 of the test. Let's move on to part 3 now. And of course we're not going to move on to part 3 at the moment. So how did you go? Did you feel comfortable? Could you speak for 2 minutes? Did you have any problems? Let's have a look at what you could have done. So this was your task, and you had 1 minute to take notes. So a famous person, well, I don't know much about famous people. I can't immediately think of anyone. So what kind of people have we got? So the first thing I can think of, okay, a singer. So a singer I can talk about is Keith Urban. So I take a few notes about Keith Urban, but I know that I may not be able to speak for 2 minutes about him. So I need another idea. So my second idea, okay, a sports star. So Cathy Freeman, she's a runner. Okay, and if I still haven't made the 2 minutes, let's take a movie star, Humphrey Bogart. So these are my notes, and this is enough information for me to keep speaking for 2 minutes. Possibly I can speak for 2 minutes about my first one, but if the examiner is still looking at me, if the 2 minutes isn't up, then I can just say, another famous person that I'm interested in is Cathy Freeman. Now, Cathy Freeman is a runner, and then I can just continue talking about her. And if I'm still getting a blank look from the examiner, another person I'm really interested in is Humphrey Bogart. He was a movie star in the 1950s, and I can continue talking about him. Now, probably I'll have enough to cover 2 minutes with my first 2 examples, but if not, I've got a third example. And I think this is really important. When you take notes, think of a few different examples, and then you can plan to talk mainly about the first one, but if there's still more time you need to fill up, go on to your second example. Okay, so some key things to note. When you have the 1 minute to take notes, use that time efficiently. Take some notes. A lot of people get very confident and think that they will just manage, but in fact you really should take notes. And that will help you if you get stuck, if you lose your train of thought. You can come back to your notes, and it's something you need to practice. Okay, and in your notes you should be thinking of 2 or 3 examples that you can talk about. You need to aim to talk for 2 minutes, so the examiner will say to you that you should speak for 1 to 2 minutes, but in fact you should speak for 2 minutes. Keep speaking until the examiner interrupts you. And there are no right or wrong answers. The only rule is that your answers must be relevant. Okay, so that's it for this video. For more practice, for tips and help with IELTS, check my blog at ieltswithmelinda.com.